Hey guys, how are things? My name is Killian Fahy and I'm a second year physics student at the University of Limerick. I'm just here today to chat to you quickly about why I chose to do physics and why I'm on the path that I'm on. So when I was in the early part of secondary school, I had no idea what physics was, but I had heard plenty of rumours. I had heard that it's super tough, only brain boxes can do physics and all that. I know now that all that's complete rubbish, but at the time I was so scared about physics I couldn't even look at it. So I eventually decided to take a leap and I decided to do it for my Leaving Cert, and I loved it. It is the most fulfilling science you'll ever do because you can understand so much about the universe and understand so much about how it works. But what actually prompted me to do physics at third level was that we actually had a workshop from the crowd at UL Physics and they explained all about the course and I fell in love. I said, this is what I want to do.
Hey guys, my name is Mary and I'm studying aeronautical engineering in UL. Even though I'm doing engineering, I've always had such a massive interest in physics and science. Growing up, I went to an all-girls secondary school, and although they had really good facilities for home ec and music, I always just wanted to follow science and physics because they were my passions. So for the Leaving Cert, I did applied maths and physics, which weren't particularly popular in my school. I had 7 in my physics class and I was the only person in my applied maths class. But I kept on going because I absolutely adored those subjects. I studied really hard in my physics class and I managed to get a study scholarship to go work over in Houston with the United Space School and NASA. And while I was over there, I was like, I'd really like to be an astronaut. So I was talking to this woman called Nora Patton, who will hopefully be the first Irish astronaut and first female Irish astronaut. She studied aeronautical engineering in UL, so I thought that's probably a good place to start. I absolutely adore this course, and even though I'm pretty much surrounded by boys, I've never let anyone tell me that I couldn't do what I wanted to follow. So I'm really thankful for doing physics and applied maths because it really helps out in my course. But I've also realised that those subjects, they're all around us, and by studying them, I've given myself a huge advantage for my future. So I'm always inspired to follow my own dreams and passions, and I think you should do the same. Never let anyone tell you that you can't do what you want to do.
My name is Alora and I'm a physicist. I'm actually the first person to even study physics in my family. In 6th class, we actually started doing experiments with our teacher, and one of them was making ice cream with just salt and ice. And I thought this was so cool, like making ice cream in school and without a freezer. I thought it was like magic. A few years before, I had been to a science museum and I thought it was amazing, but I had no idea that all of the really cool things there were actually thanks to science. I really like mystery programs and problem solving and figuring out why everything works the way it does. I like to think of myself as a detective of the universe. As a physicist, every single day I get to solve the mysteries of how and why things work in this amazing universe of ours. I get to study things from the smallest things imaginable, like teeny tiny particles and atoms, but also the physics in our everyday lives, and even up to the biggest things you can think of, like our planets, all of the stars, galaxies, and even our whole universe. I know that a lot of people think you need to be really smart, or you need to really love maths to be a physicist, but I don't think this is true. If you're passionate about something and you have an interest in it and you're curious, you will go so much further than you can ever imagine.
Hi, I'm Tara and I'm a 4th year chemistry and physics teaching student at UL. I always had an interest in science, but I wasn't really sure which path I wanted to go down. I always had an interest in how things worked, so like how planes flew or how 3D films worked, and then I realised that this was the study of physics. So I decided to study physics and applied maths in my Leaving Cert just because I enjoyed it. But when it came to applying for my CAO, I didn't really know what I wanted to pick. I ended up picking my course because it's such a broad course. Not only am I qualified to teach, but I can also work in industry both in chemistry and physics. I'd highly recommend studying physics and potentially my course.
Hi guys, I'm Emily and I'm a second year applied physics student in UL. I've always been fascinated by how the universe works. I used to love watching YouTube videos about science that ask questions like, what do black holes look like? Where does the sun get its energy from? And is time travel possible? I also used to love sci-fi movies like Interstellar and Gravity. I just thought it was so cool how maths and science could explain so much about our universe. So when it came to choosing subjects for the Leaving Cert, I chose applied maths and physics. But even though I loved the experiments and studying how you could predict how anything in the universe would move or act with just a couple of numbers, I didn't initially consider studying physics in college because I thought it would be too difficult. I was told that you had to be a genius to study physics in college. So when it came to filling out my CAO, I chose something completely different because I thought it would be easier. But after the Leaving Cert, I realised that I wouldn't be studying the thing that I loved. I would be abandoning the maths and the science that fascinated me. So I changed my choice and I chose to study applied physics in UL, and I'm so glad that I did. So my advice to anyone who might have been told that physics is too difficult for them, or was a bit scared to choose physics because it seems a little daunting, is to ignore these people and these misconceptions, because I can tell you that it's definitely worth it.